So, I'm gonna actually start with what the best tool I have is right here, and that is my Easy Bow Maker. This is actually the Easy Bow Maker Deluxe is what it's called, and there's different versions of the Easy Bow Maker, but this is the one that I use. Has a spool holder down on the end, and it has 2 pegs here. It actually has a third one that I don't utilize, but this one's called a Deluxe. You'll see that it has marks all the way, so it's got the inch marks all the way up to 8 inches over here. It is sold 100, but let's talk about ribbon, or let's talk about some tools. So first of all, when I make bows, I use nothing but my Fiskars scissors. If you have Amazon Prime, I can give you the link to where I get my scissors from. Look, I literally have never sharpened these since 2017 when I purchased them. That is how nice my Fiskars scissors are. So nice pair of scissors. I don't use them on anything else but my ribbon or fabric. Some other tools, you'll want either some floral wire, and I actually keep a combination of all 3 of these in my craft room. I use 22 gauge floral wire when I make my bows. It's strong enough to hold its shape. When I make bows, I think about tying them to mailboxes, lanterns, outdoors where it's going to get whipped around by the rain and the wind and the hurricanes and all of that fun stuff. So I want good heavy ribbon, or excuse me, good heavy wire. Hey, Miss Deborah. Another thing that goes really well for bow making is the zip ties. So if you struggle making a tight bow, use a zip tie in conjunction with maybe floral wire or a pipe cleaner. So I'm going to give you an example of that. And then of course, pipe cleaners are the craft room's best friend. We can't go on without a pipe cleaner. All right. So the Easy Bow Maker is great for making all kinds of bows. Think about a bow like a recipe, like so many loops. So your recipe would be 4 loops on the bottom at 6 inches, or 4 loops at 8 inches, or whatever. So think about it like a recipe, and there's a gazillion recipes that you could use. Gazillion. One of my favorite and easiest bows to ever make is my most popular one, which is the 3-ribbon bow. The 3-ribbon bow does require an extra set of hands, or in this case, a dear friend of mine, she's actually in my coaching group, and I looked for this, my missing peg. I took this with me on a trip, and the peg came out while I was traveling, and I thought I knew where it was at, and I went to go find it the other day, and it's still gone. So I'm going to try and actually make my own peg for a moment, because it helps. If you do not have this tool, no fear. Number 1, I can give you a link on how you can get it. Hey, Bonnie. Hello. Fiskars. So, $9.96. And yeah, I use the 10-inch. These are 10-inch Fiskars scissors, Amy. Thank you very much. Yeah, Amazon Prime days are going on. Go catch that. If you want a link to the exact pair of scissors that I'm using, I'll be happy to provide that afterwards. I'm making myself an extra peg. There we go. All right. So this is going to be a 3-ribbon bow. So obviously, I'm going to need 3 different ribbons. Now, I brought with me a whole basket full of ribbon so that we would have lots and lots of choices and options. When you do this method, you do want to line up your ribbon in the order that you want it to come out. So if I put this on my spool holder, and again, I'll get you a link to the spool holder. So my good friend Kim sells them. Her husband makes them, and she sells them on her Etsy shop. So, okay, good, you can see that. So see how if I put it in this order, this ribbon's going to be on top, that ribbon's going to be in the center, and that ribbon's going to be on the bottom. So we want to pay attention to what order they're going to come out of, especially when you're using a 2.5. If you want to make sure the 2.5 is on the bottom, you're going to put it to the closest to you. So that does make a difference. Since we're using all the same size wired ribbon, this may not make a difference on the 3 ribbon bow. So I'm literally taking 3 rolls of ribbon, and we're going to bring them all forward at the same time. For this ribbon, this is where you want to decide, do you want to have tails or not tails? Now, even if you decide not to have tails, don't worry, we can add them on afterwards. So, for this one in particular, I don't want to have tails. I'm just going to bring my ribbon out to the 6-inch mark on the right side of my pegs. As I go down into the Easy Bow Maker in between these two, I'm going to give it a twist. So as I'm pushing down, now I have 3 ribbon all facing forward. And on the left side, I should have 3 ribbon upside down. This is a 3 ribbon bow, okay? I'm gonna go down again in between, and as I'm going down, I'm gonna twist over to this. I'm at the 6-inch mark. You'll notice that I'm not smashing this down. I'm leaving it kind of fluffed out like that on purpose. If you struggle with making bows, this is one of my favorite to teach people. My absolute favorite, and I think that you guys find it so much easier. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing on this side. We're gonna come over to the 6-inch mark. We're going to twist. Aren't you glad that I put the Easy Bow Maker on sale for y'all today? Today and tomorrow only, you get to save $2 on that, and it never goes on sale. All right, I'm gonna repeat that so that I have 2 sets of loops on this side and 2 sets of 6-inch loops on this side. I'm gonna keep twisting as I'm going up. So that's what it looks like from the side view, and you'll notice that it's starting to get a little thick there. Yes, this method will require a zip tie. Now, on the next one, I'm going to come in about 1 inch, and I'm gonna do about a 5-inch loop, twist, push. Do it again on the other side, 5-inch loop, twist, push. I'm only going to do 1 at the 5-inch mark, and then we're gonna do 1 at a 4-inch, and another one at a 4-inch. So I have 2 6-inch on the bottoms, a 5-inch, and a 4-inch. If you want a fuller ribbon, you can go more on the middle and top loops, but you also want to be careful because you're going to get a lot of bulk out of this. See how thick this is? This is probably a good 3.5 inches right there. So it's really, really thick in the center. Because we have so much going on here, I'm going to use a zip tie to tie it together. And I'm going to go ahead and trim these off so it's not attached. My umbilical cord's not attached anymore. All right, so if you're not sure, one zip tie should hold this. All right, I'm gonna bring this up, and as I'm coming up, I'm gonna bring this zip tie underneath and around and secure this guy. Make sure he's facing the right direction. That's always my biggest struggle. I start out with the zip tie in the right direction, and somehow I can get it twisted and nothing flat. All right, now I'm not going to completely tighten that down yet for a couple of different reasons. So I don't want to tighten that completely down because number one, I want to make sure that all of my ribbon has stayed in place and nothing's twisted out of shape. But also, I want to add something into that zip tie so that I can attach it to another object. So if my customer who buys this bow wants to attach it to a lantern, or, and I'm talking outdoor lantern, or a lamp post, or a mailbox, I want to make sure that I have some wire, enough wire, that when my customer purchases it, that they have enough to work with, that they can tie that around an object, a stair rail, right? So before I tighten it down completely, I add that extra piece. And as I said, I'm going to make sure that none of my ribbon has shifted before I tighten it completely down. And then I'm going to give my zip tie a good little squeeze. A good squeeze. Oh. And I truly am trying to get that as tight as possible. I do not want that zip tie. If I need help, I will actually take my needle nose pliers. Hold on. They got tangled up in my, there we go. So I'll take my needle nose and I will pull it again while I'm pushing on the flat part of the zip tie. I just want to make sure it's not going anywhere. Now, the really cool thing about bows, when you're making bows, is that when it comes to fluffing, do you feel like sometimes you're chasing yourself? Like, every time I move, it moves with me and I can't get it to finish. And a solution to that is attach your bow. By the way, we're done with this zip tie, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Attach your bow to something heavy. Like right here, if I take and wrap this around my Easy Bow Maker, it's heavier. It's not heavy, but it's got some weight on it. I'm just gonna kind of barely put it on there. And now I've got something to hold it while I'm fluffing out. Hello, Becky George. I'm gonna start on the bottom. So those 6-inch loops, I'm gonna start pulling them apart. And as I pull them apart, I'm gonna give them a twist. I'm just gonna yank them around like I own them. And they will conform to whatever shape I want them to be in. I try to make sure that I'm not putting two ribbon next to each other, so I don't want to bring the teal now. I want to bring this mustard and give it a little twist, twist, keep going round. If you don't have something to anchor your bow to, my husband made me, let me see how I want to do, there we go. My husband actually made me like a little square piece of wood and put an eye hook on it along with the little screw or a little nail, so I could just wrap my wire around it. I'd run it through the eye hook and run it through the nail, wrap it around the nail, and it was perfect for anchoring down my bows while I was fluffing them out. Okay, are you guys still in view? So I start at the bottom, I start working my way upward. Each row, I'm going up, up. Look how full this bow is. This is a 3-ribbon bow. We did all 3 of these at the same time. That's right, utilize those tools. All right, so I still have these tails sticking out. Don't worry, I know they're there. I just kind of want to go back and see how I'm looking. Look how full. Let me set this aside for a moment. Look how full our bow is. From the side view, from a top view, this bow is gorgeous. 3-ribbon bow. If you struggle with making bows, this one is one to definitely learn from. Now the extra, these I don't need 6 inches long. I want them shorter in the middle. So I'm gonna cut these back. And we're gonna integrate these as part of our bow. All right, so bring this guy, yeah, that one's there. And I can make them as short or as long as I want them. So now it becomes a part of the bow. Or if you don't want them at all, you can get them shorter even yet. Look how beautiful of a bow that makes. Now, remember, we used 3 ribbon. On this one, we used 2 6-inch loops on each side of the peg. So 2 6-inch loops. Then we did 1 5-inch loop on each side and 1 4-inch loop on each side. Look how full that is. Warning, if you try to put too many loops, you will have a bow that is so crammed and stuffed that you won't be able to spread it out nicely. Again, I like to do this with a 2.5-inch ribbon on the bottom and then two 1.5-inch, but it works very, very nicely either way.